It's supposed to be hard. Life is supposed to be hard. You're supposed to think this is terrible. You're supposed to suffer and smile through the pain regardless.
I say that life as a man is exceptionally difficult. I say the most beautiful and the most terrifying thing about being a man is you're born without value. Society doesn't care about you. You're only going to be cared about based on how useful you are. You have the chance to build yourself up and become a superhero if you're prepared to do the hard work and be indefatigable enough to never quit. But if you're going to stand around and wait for a handout, nobody's going to ever respect you. And I think that a lot of people have forgotten about how difficult and how competitive it is as a man. We're always in constant competition with each other. And it's your duty as a man to stand up and say, I want to be as important and strong and good-hearted and God-fearing as possible. And I need to work hard to achieve those things.
Perhaps I was sad every time I did exactly what I was supposed to do and trained anyway. Perhaps I was afraid when I fought anyway. Perhaps I was tired when I worked anyway. This is how you get ahead in life. I don't have an ounce of sympathy for these people who sit here and say, well, I feel this way, so I can't. Then don't do it. The winners are at the top, and the winners at the top don't give a shit about how they feel. Why am I going to ignore how I feel and make sure I'm constantly performing regardless, flawlessly, and then sit and go, oh, but he doesn't feel good, so he's allowed to fuck up. No, you are not. You're not allowed to fuck up to your ancestors or to God or to yourself. You have to perform. This is what being a man is about. The baseline of masculinity is doing things you don't feel like doing. The thing that makes a good man a man is that he does what he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to work and he works anyway. He doesn't want to get up, he gets up anyway. That's the whole point of it. You can't sit there as a man and say you don't feel like it. You're not allowed to not feel like it. You're supposed to do it anyway, regardless. So when a man sits there and says, oh, but you don't understand, I'm struggling with motivation. If you are struggling with the motivation to be a winner, then stay a fucking loser. If the path was easy, everybody would walk it and it would lead nowhere. 100 people start the path, 99 fall off because it is difficult, and the one person who makes it to the end gets the gold. If all 100 made it to the end and the gold was divided by 100, it wouldn't even be worth anything. The difficulty gives it value. The fact that it is difficult to do is the key component into the fact you want it in the first place.
You need to see bad things as a blessing because they're the building blocks to make you the man you want to be. When people say to me, this bad thing happened to me, I say, good. This girl left me, good. I lost all my money. Good. This is your chance to take all of that negative emotion, all of those building blocks, and turn yourself into a man that prevents these bad things happening to them ever again. I think that a lot of people don't understand that it's all of the challenges and struggles that's going to make them, it's either going to make or break them. I don't read studies very often, but I was sent a study about stress from somebody. It's probably the best study I ever read, and it's talked about the placebo effect of stress. And it said that they took some of the most stressed people in the world, CEOs, etc., and the ones who believed that stress was really bad for them were dying earlier because of the cortisol inside of their blood. And stress was really bad for them, they were having heart attacks. But the ones who believed that stress was good for them and it made them perform, I perform under pressure, stress is good for me, they were living longer. So the same drug inside of their blood, how they framed it inside of their mind had different effects on their body. So from that point onwards, even though I already thought this way, I knew I was the right way. I knew it was the right way to think innately because I've done pretty good in life that way. But this confirmed it. Every time I feel stressed or under pressure, I get excited. I hate to not be stressed. I wake up and I'm like, everything's fucked. Good. Yes. Like, that's just how I am, right? But it's how you look at the problems and how you use them to fuel you. So the question was, what's the problem for the average man today? What's the biggest problem? I think there's a whole host of problems. But what you have to do is frame it inside of your mind and understand that all of those problems are going to allow you, give you the fuel, the unlimited motivation that you need to become a successful and beautiful individual if you frame it in the right way. If you take a man and give him a life shielded from problems and he never has any to face, I guarantee you he's terrible at being a man. The best men in the world have gone through shit. That's why women love scars, because it didn't kill you. That's the whole point of it, right? So the best thing you can do as a man is look and go, okay, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard. I feel negative because these are all so difficult. I'm struggling with X, Y, Z. Let me internalize all of that and turn it into a superpower. Let me become genuinely uncomfortable with my situation in life and go and fix things. Because, like I said, the universe is absolutely and utterly very giving. And if you truly hated being in the position you were in, you wouldn't be there very long. Yeah. So I think that the number one problem with the world today and the biggest problem that men face isn't the problems themselves. It's just the way that they are been taught to mentally frame issues. People think when bad things happen to them that somehow they're a victim to the universe and bad things only happen to me and this is so terrible. They don't understand that bad things happen to everybody. And the most successful person you know had all those probably, maybe even worse, at least the same bad things happened to them. They just framed it differently and used it. That's the difference. So I don't pray for an easy life. I pray for a life of difficulty that allows me to become a better and better person. I pray to become more competent to handle problems. This is who I pray to become. I don't pray that nobody hurts me. I pray to be able to fight.
So it's just a different mentality. I think a lot of people build their mindsets around trying to feel good. So that's why we were talking earlier about people who want to ignore the idea of personal responsibility or self-accountability because they feel better if they pretend it's not a real thing. They feel better if they pretend everything's someone else's fault. A lot of people's mental model and how they view the world is based around them feeling as good as possible. So people are they're basing their mindsets around trying to feel good. I have always tried to base my mindset around absolute competence regardless of how I feel. And there are certainly disadvantages to that. There are times you're going to be a lot more pessimistic, or you're going to be a lot more stressed, or a lot more, pissed off about certain things than others. Yeah, that can be seen as a downside. But like I said, I use all of those things for unlimited motivation to propel my endless upward trajectory. But if you construct a mindset that allows you to be as competent as possible, as opposed to feel any different or feel better, then you're going to naturally come to the conclusions I've come to. You're as competent as possible if you believe you can affect absolutely everything about your life. You're as competent as possible if you believe absolutely everything that's happened to you, whether good or bad, is completely your fault. You're as competent as possible if you believe the bad things that happen to you are going to allow you to work harder and become even better. When bad things happen to me, the first thing out of my mouth is good. Andrew, this happened. Good. Good. Now I'm really pissed. Good. This mindset I've constructed allows me to be as fearsome a competitor as possible. It allows me to be a feared opponent in any realm of human endeavor, and that's the point of a mindset. Why would you have a mental model or a mentality that made you anything less? In the ultra competitive world that we just discussing that everybody wants the things you have, why would you absorb information or construct a mental model that doesn't allow you to be as competitive as possible? I am a feared competitor in anything I do. Anyone who's up against me at anything is going to feel a degree of nervousness just because it's me. It doesn't matter what it is. If you say, look, you're going to go learn how to play piano, and you're going to play against someone else who's never played piano, and you're going to learn. That guy's going to take. You're like, oh, fuck. I can't even play piano. But part of them is going to be like, oh, not Tate. Even though I have no piano experience, because they just know me. They know my mindset. They know my determination. They know I'm stubborn. They know I don't quit. They know I'm going to win. That's just who I am. So I've constructed a mental model that allows me to be competent and to always succeed. And that's how I've come to the conclusions I've come to. And I truly, once again, don't understand how people go through the world with any other mental model. I get asked all the time, but what do you feel? Or what about happiness or depression? That doesn't even... How I feel doesn't cross my mind. I don't know how else to explain it. There are days where I'm pissed off or sad or happy. It doesn't cross my mind. It's just like I woke up, whatever mood I happen to be in, I have things I need to do. It's a busy day. I need to go training before he gets here. I had a meeting with the bank at 7:15 a.m. I have shit to do. I didn't cross my mind if I was happy, sad, excited. I just had to work. Yeah. So I think my mental model, to a degree, I'm certainly not a person who doesn't feel emotions because we're all human. I certainly do. But I've never prioritized them in any regard. I haven't built a mental model that affects... I haven't put them in the middle of my mental model and then affected my actions based on how I feel for each one. It's absolutely and completely the opposite. I would love to do a podcast on a day where I'm particularly sad and a podcast on a day when I'm particularly happy. And I guarantee you wouldn't be able to tell the fucking difference. Yeah. So that's what allows me to be competitive, right? Because if you're competitive, if you want to be the most competitive predator on the planet, you have to be able to hunt in the day and the night. You have to be able to do both. You have to be able to perform when you're happy and sad. You can't only be able to perform when you're happy. You can't only go to the gym when you're motivated. You can't only be a competent person when your life's going well, because when your life's not going well, you're no longer competent. Then you're going to lose to people like me. And it's player versus player. If you're the kind of person who can only do well when you're happy and you're competing against someone like me who can do well all the fucking time, guess what? You lose. Mm-hmm. So my mental model, the answer is most of my opinions are just based around constructing a mental model that allows me to be brutally competitive. Yeah. I believe that I am currently sad, but I have work to do, and eventually I will feel better. You cannot try and make me adopt thinking that will reduce my competitiveness as an individual. So I don't believe in things that take power away from me. I don't believe in things that make me less competitive, and I don't adopt mental models that make me less competitive. Every single mental model I have are the most efficient ones I could find. To the mental model I found that if I adopt, I become a more fearsome predator. That's it. So this is how I've come to all of my conclusions as an individual.
Struggle is extremely important for a man. You should be looking to inject struggle into your life permanently. If you're injecting struggle and that struggle, solving those problems lead to a positive place, once you become addicted to it, you're going to become a machine of monumental achievement. Would you play a video game if it was easy? If you could never die? I mean, cheats get boring pretty quick. You play it because it's hard. That's the whole point of it. You're supposed to struggle with it. You're supposed to suffer with it. So if I woke up and everything was just perfect, that'd be great for a few weeks. But if you just wake up and nothing ever goes wrong, I think that'd be quite depressing in its own way. That's the beauty of life, is the up and the down, because there's no light without dark.